All right. Hello and welcome to another Expert Insight interview. My name is John Golden from Sales Pop, online sales magazine, and Pipeliner CRM, joining you as usual from a sunny San Diego. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Audrey Faust, who is over in probably an equally sunny Florida.
Yes, sunny, but a little bit cold today
Cold,
for Florida.
cold by Florida standards. For those of you in the rest of the world who are in Arctic conditions, you probably can't relate. And Audrey's a financial business coach dedicated to empowering women entrepreneurs by helping them gain confidence and clarity in their business finances through her signature one on one coaching program, Path to Profitability. And her upcoming book, She Grows Rich. She guides clients to transformative financial journey, enable them to master their financial data and make strategic decisions and scale their business for increased profitability. And that's what we're going to talk about today, particularly empowering women entrepreneurs to master their financials for profitability. So, first, Audrey, just let me ask you the obvious question: why the focus on women?
Well, a lot of women like fear the financial part.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, if you're a business owner, you get into business because you have a gift, right? You're
Yeah,
great at something, whatever it may be. You're probably great at sales, John. But it doesn't mean you're always great at the numbers
yeah,
part. And that just comes with it, like it or not.
mhm,
So, and women got a late start in
yeah.
business and they're coming into business now like faster than ever.
Mhm.
Women couldn't even have a business loan until 1988. That's not
Wow.
that long ago.
It's not that long ago at all. No, it's not. And and it's
Yeah,
and it's interesting, Audrey, isn't it? Because I've talked to a number of women who focus on business and women and that. And one of the things is, and I think this is, it's like when men see a job application, right? And there's a list of 15 qualifications, and they have maybe one, and
right.
even maybe tentatively one. They'll go, "I'm in. I'm going to go for that," and sometimes they'll get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, whereas women won't unless they have like and so there's I think there's a lot of that legacy to be overcome in order to to help women to compete on a level playing field.
absolutely. Yes. I've heard that same statistic. Women have to check the boxes of all of 15 qualifications, whereas men don't care.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've applied for jobs in the past where I had absolutely zero qualification for and got to interviews.
Well, there you go.
And got through more than one. But yeah, so what are some of the what are some of the barriers that women feel? I mean, when they want to start a business, and I mean the fear of financials. I mean, what are some of the limiting beliefs, do you think there?
I'm not good at math. I'm not good with numbers. I'm not good with money. All of that comes up as limiting beliefs and
Mhm,
mindset, and some of that's programmed in us
mhm.
because I'm also a certified neuro coach, so I know a lot about the subconscious,
Right.
and the subconscious gets programmed before the age of 7. So whatever you're around in your family, or people around you, it just gets in there. For instance, like my mom used to always say, I work hard for my money, right?
Mm.
And I interpreted that as you have to work hard for your money.
Right,
So
right.
that was a belief that I had to get over myself. And it can create workaholicism,
Mhm,
and you can burn out from that too.
mm.
So
And I
easily.
think the thing about finance, I mean, and the thing is, I mean, it's obviously, obviously, maybe women, because of traditionally and the legacies of the past, come to it with a little more trepidation. But I can tell you, the the first time, like, I remember the first time I had to run a large department with a budget, and I joined this company. They gave me the budget. It was an Excel book, and it had 30, maybe even more, I can't remember, tabs in it.
Tabs.
And it
Mhm.
was so dense. And I remember going home that night and like sitting with my wife and saying, I don't know what this is. I don't, I've got, it's Greek to me. I have no idea. But within a couple of weeks, I suddenly realized it wasn't that complicated, really. When it was, when you boiled it down, when you overcame your resistance, boiled it down, and actually,
Yeah.
ever since then, I've loved budget sheets. I don't know, I'm something a bit crazy about that, but I've actually enjoyed working with them. So tell me, that is a typical thing, I think, just coming to fear and then seeing all this stuff, and it looks like it's Greek.
Yeah, and what I get from most of my clients is that I have a really natural way to kind of make it simple.
Hmm.
And after they're working with me, they come to the end and they're like, "I never realized how simple this is." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's not brain science, but it can look very intimidating. And you just want to like close your eyes and just like, I don't want to look at that." But being empowered around it and understanding it, then as you grow your business, you get to make financial decisions
Hmm.
based on that. So, and it's really the key. I've been working with small businesses for over 25 years, not all in coaching and done for
Hmm.
you accounting work. And like the ones that grow are the ones that understand the financial pieces of their business. Like
Yeah.
you're just gonna plateau or get stuck until you do, or you only gonna be able to get so far.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
that's the biggest difference I saw
mhm.
in businesses that stay here or really grow and create a business, multi-million dollar business in
Yeah,
that.
no, no, absolutely. And I think, I mean, one of the biggest issues, and you probably come across this too, is just it's very easy to run out of liquidity, right? It's very
Mm,
easy for cash flow. And often people don't, they start a business, maybe they get some clients and they think, oh, look, I've sold X amount of my services. It's fantastic, but I haven't got paid for any of them yet. And in
yeah.
fact, some of them are going, well, you're a small business. And you know how big businesses often are. Oh, you're a small business. I'm going to put you last to get paid because there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. And so it's very easy to think, oh, I must be doing well, but then your cash runs out because
Yeah,
you haven't been tracking it
exactly.
properly.
And then there's also this negativity around having business debt, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And all the businesses that I've seen grow have debt. So
Biggest businesses in the
it's
world
pretty
are in
hard to
debt.
get around it. It's like the ones that I was working with one client that was multi seven figures, and they decided they didn't want any more debt, and literally they stopped growing. So it was
Mm.
kind of like you just saw them plateau because
Yeah.
they refused to invest anymore in the business. Um, it's part of growth. So
Yeah.
and people make such negativity around debt, especially, personal debt as well
Sure.
as, business debt. But, a lot of times it's a growth process.
No, it is. And then, like I said, some of the biggest companies in the world are heavily in debt all the time. Uh,
Look at
household
the
names.
country.
Yeah, well, you got countries. Won't mention anyone in particular with its like 9 billion gazillion debt. So how do you help to break down? I mean, number one, how do you help them overcome the fear or maybe the resistance to it? Because as you said, some people maybe they were thought they're terrible at math. They don't like numbers. Spreadsheets look horrendous to them. How do you help with that first stage of just going, it's okay, it's okay.
Well, the first stage I do is make sure that they don't have any limiting beliefs. Well, I call
Mhm.
them, prosperity blockers
Right.
that they're carrying from their young age. And we have a few questions and dig in deep and find out if there's anything in there we need to get rid of first, because that's where I see the biggest jump in
Mhm.
revenue is if there's something in there, that some block that they think that this has to be hard, or they have negative connotation around rich people or anything like that. And if you have that going on, you're never going to have any money. That's why, people that win the lottery, they blow it
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
because they are like, they have a bad, like, belief around rich people. So that's the
Mhm.
first thing we dive into. But then the second part is creating a blueprint. You called it a budget. I don't like the word budget. A lot of people hate the word budget. They get anxiety around the word budget. I call it a blueprint because it really is different than a budget.
Mhm.
especially the way I look at it. We look at all the money, the average money coming in, going out. We also look at what you're getting paid and what you want to get paid,
Mm.
as well as like how much you're going to have to pay in taxes. And we factor all that stuff into the blueprint. So, okay, I need to make this much revenue if I want to get paid this much. And
Right.
I have to be prepared to pay this much in taxes. So, but it's a really simple spreadsheet that I help my clients. We walk through it, and it's like the biggest aha moment they have. Like, oh, I get it now. It's
Mhm.
like this makes it so
And
simple.
what are some of the parts that make help with that aha moment? What do they say when they like, oh, this part, oh, I didn't realize that that was so straightforward.
Yeah, so one of my clients, Tiffany, when she first came to me because she wasn't able to pay herself at all, and she was living off her personal savings,
Right.
and she had a team even. So, but she didn't understand like why this was going on. So the first thing we did is we went into the blueprint and we put it all down. And her largest line item was her team. And I said to her, I was like, okay, either we got to reduce the team if you want to get paid, or we got to bring in more revenue. Like you
Mhm.
get to choose. And she's like, "Oh, I can't lose my team. They're like that, I wouldn't be anywhere without them." I'm
Right,
like,
right.
okay. I'm like, okay, so how are we going to bring in more revenue? So, we kind of brainstormed and created a package for her. And once she realized it was like either I have to lose my team or bring in more revenue, and she wanted to go the revenue route, like she 10x her revenue in 1 month. Like it
Mm.
just blew my mind. I told her we created a package for her, and I told her all you really have to do is sell one package a month, and it's going to cover your team and then have some money for you. And the first month she sold 4 packages. I
Wow.
was like,
So
okay.
yeah, and so how did she feel after that when she realized that and when she started realizing she could pay herself, she could make money, the tea and things could grow. Um, what was that like for her?
I think she was surprised. I mean, she was excited, and she was just like, you know, she felt relieved too,
Mhm.
right? Like now, like I get it. I need to bring in more money. I need to make this work. And it's like, oh, it's not as hard as I thought it was. So yeah.
Excellent. What are some of the other issues that around finance that women? I mean, once you get them over maybe that hump, are there other sort of obstacles you have to help them over after that?
Just being able to read financial
Mhm.
statements, a profit and loss, a balance sheet, a cash flow. Those are the three that
Yeah.
I suggest you look at on a monthly basis.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Um,
agree.
and just like being able to understand what each thing means. Nobody teaches you that.
No, I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible, that this isn't that still today, like, there isn't financial acumen isn't like
Yeah.
not even a recommend, like a mandatory. It should be mandatory for everybody because something, it's never gonna do you any harm to have some financial acumen.
No. I think personal and business.
Yeah,
Like
personal and business, yeah.
personal as well. Like they should be teaching kids in high school like
Yeah,
finance stuff,
yeah.
like, and it should be mandatory. I
And by the way,
think it's more important than history.
yeah, and it doesn't always come the other way around because I mean there are some people, I mean I know some people who run successful businesses but are chaotic in their own personal finances, which is quite amazing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Usually I always say the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Yeah, yeah, but sometimes it's not.
Yeah,
But that's interesting. No, I would agree with you on those financial statements. And I think the great thing, and you probably see this all the time, is once you understand them, you only need to understand it once, you understand it, and
yeah,
after that they just become, they just become just like looking at any other set of stats or numbers or metrics or whatever. If what you can look through them very quickly and understand where you are.
yeah, and it doesn't take a lot of time.
Mhm.
Like, people think that they have to put aside all this time. I'm like, if you know if you're keeping up with everything, either you have a bookkeeper or you're
Yeah.
doing it yourself, like it shouldn't, running the financial reports, if you have software like QuickBooks,
Yep.
like, doesn't take you long. Like, you can review your finances in 15, 20 minutes,
Yeah.
a month. It's really not that long. Now, you can also get in the weeds
Sure.
but it's really simple and not time consuming. I always, I teach my clients, make a date with yourself every month to
Mm.
just be like, I'm just going to look at this stuff and, put it on your calendar, because it's not something you're going to do if you don't
Yeah.
put it
Do you
on your
encourage them
calendar.
to have a glass of wine while they're doing it?
Yes, actually, it comes to mind. One of my clients says, "Can I have a glass of wine?" I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah, yeah. There you go. And depending on how your financials are looking, maybe you need a
Yeah,
whiskey.
I'm like, "Have at
Yeah,
it."
or alternatively, maybe champagne if it's going really well. But
Sure,
but
whatever
to
floats your boat.
yeah, but to your point, I mean, once you get used to that, and just you get very good at looking at anomalies or red flags, or even the opposite, like leading indicators or green flags. So because,
Yeah,
as you said, it becomes, and it can become quite an enjoyable little
yeah,
activity if you get the mindset right.
absolutely. Yeah, once you get over that. And, one thing I like to say is a lot of business owners, they don't even look at their financials till the end of the year or till after their taxes are done. And I always say, at that point, like, the story's over.
Yeah,
Like, there's no change in that story.
yeah.
Whether it's a fairy tale or a nightmare, like, that story is done.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's an exercise in either optimism or denial. But certainly, as you said, yeah, if you like surprises, go ahead, do it that way. But if you like the rest of us and you want to kind of manage your surprises, then you
Yeah,
need to be looking at it regularly. And
yeah.
then, I mean, didn't you have people who, like, then they come back to you and they say, well, I actually enjoy this part now.
Oh, absolutely. Once they understand it, all my clients enjoy it. And they're just like, I'm doing this all the time. I'm looking at it, I'm making decisions. I'm hiring based on this. One of my clients, Kim, like, when she first came to me, she was in business for like 17 years, or
Mhm.
it was a long time. And she still didn't really understand the financial pieces of her business. She had a bookkeeper, and she had an accountant, but I always say there's that missing piece in between. Like, the bookkeeper is the data entry,
Yep.
and the accountant is doing the taxes, but he's not really diving into seeing what's going on, right?
No, no.
And the bookkeeper, she doesn't always, or he doesn't always know, like, the right thing if they're putting. So there are many errors I found. But back to Kim, she had a team in place, and, like, she wasn't able to pay herself what she wanted to make.
Mhm.
So that was her first problem. That's why she came to me. And we did the blueprint, we looked at it, and her team was, again, one of the highest line items. But then we dove into her team a little bit more. And I'm like, well, what do they do? And how are they supporting you? And one person had just left her team and she was replacing them. So we ended up replacing them with a little bit higher level person to kind of take some things off of her plate. And then the other person wasn't really supporting her the way she needed to be supported in that role. So we actually got rid of that person and changed that job completely. Then she
Mm.
had two people in place. She had a project manager and she had a designer. She's an interior designer. She had a, like, junior designer, and she got this team in place. And she, there was a little bit, of training and all of that, but now she is growing, like, exponentially, because she
Mm.
knows, like, she's got the right people in the right positions that's going to support her growth. And she's already booked like $1.7 million in revenue next year. So,
Wow.
it's like, great. Anything above what she's already have booked and sold is like gravy, and her team still has capacity. So,
Right.
to do more. So, like, really understanding that, understanding the capacity, understanding, making sure the right team.
Mhm.
Um,
And like
so,
you s and
and
like you said, figuring out and freeing up the funds to maybe
yeah,
upskill the people, get hire better people,
yes.
more
Yeah, like,
capable.
she went from a design assistant to a junior designer, and it wasn't that much more in salary, but
Hmm.
it took so much off of her plate and allowed her to sell more.
Right,
So,
right, right. Yeah.
which, that's the gravy, right?
Right, right. Because let's face it, I mean, unfortunately, with small businesses, especially if they're service businesses, that's the toughest part is, right? You sell and then you have to deliver. And then
Yeah,
while you're delivering, your pipeline is going down
right.
because you're not selling. And then when it's over, then you go back to selling. So you're not, so, and
Yeah,
it's a kind of feast or famine situation.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, listen,
Uh,
this is fascinating, Audrey. Fantastic work that you're doing. I mean, you're giving
Thank
away
you.
all the secrets now that men have that really are, we don't know anything more than you do. We just pretend we do, or we've just learned how to read it. So I think it's fantastic what you're doing because, like I said, I mean, I've even been through this, process myself when I first had to manage things and then ran companies, and the thing is, at the, once you understand how to the work you're doing with people is fantastic. Is once you understand that it doesn't matter whether it's you're running the books for your local pickleball club or you are running like a multi-million dollar corporation, the concepts are the same.
They are. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, listen, all of Audrey's information is going to be below this video, but before we go, please do tell people a little bit more about you and what you do.
So I'm a coach and I business financial coach. I work one-on-one with people. I also am launching a course shortly, next week actually. And my book is launching the week after that. She Grows Rich, which is all around personal finance and how I grew my wealth from absolutely nothing to over $2 million. And anybody can do it. That's my message there. But Audrey Faust Consulting is my website, and there's a lot of free resources. I do free workshops every other month, boot camp workshops every other month, and I just love supporting women around understanding the financial pieces of their business and overcoming the money mindset challenges that we all face.
Yep, yep, we all do. So, listen again, fantastic, Audrey. I mean, I think this is great work you're doing, great insight. So, I would go check it out and go check out the book when it comes out next month. Is it? Yeah,
Next 2 weeks,
2
actually.
weeks from now, this month even. So go check
Yeah.
it out.
I don't
Fantastic.
know
Well,
how long until this podcast lands, but it comes out January
actually,
21st.
yeah, it should be out close around then.
Okay,
All
awesome.
right. Well, listen, thanks again, Audrey. Thank you for watching and listening, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I appreciate being here.